There is one trait that every man needs to have above all other traits that will define him and set him apart from a vast, vast majority of other men. And I only see this trait in some of the best men. And this trait makes the best men. This is what defines them from everyone else. This is them, this is everyone else. And here's that one trait. The one trait is resourcefulness, the ability to start with what you have, the ability to work with what you have, okay? So I gotta tell you a story real quick because this will help you make all of this make sense. Back in 2020, when COVID began, I decided that I wanted to start doing YouTube videos, and I decided that I wanted to start making content on YouTube. The thing was, I had to learn how to make content on YouTube, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I started a channel, and it was like a Lego Ninjago channel, something I knew about from my childhood that I could easily make videos on that would give me the experience. Then I kind of switched and did another channel, and I made like 3 or 4 different channels, 2 or 3 at least, of just random YouTube content where I was just learning how to make stuff. I did different types of videos. I did like stop motion, I did time lapse, I did like real life videos, I did computer edited videos completely. I did all sorts of things, but that's not my point. My point is that I started doing these things in this room, and I'm still doing them in this room. This room is the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. The room actually isn't like the best room for this. The sound quality is terrible. The way these roofs are shaped behind me, everything really kind of messy. And if you look over here, like I just have my stuff, right? It's not super specific. So I had to make the most of this room, and I had to do it in a way that would make the best sense. And I had to be resourceful with what I had. So that's where you get shots like this. This shot took a lot of time, and it took a lot of crafting and sculpting and me learning about video framing and learning, is this crooked? There we go. This shot took a lot of time for me to figure out how to do. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to make the best with what you have, and then you can start from there. So I've got 6 things for you that will be extremely helpful, and I'm falling apart. So the first 2 things about resourcefulness are, like I already mentioned, the ability to start working with what you already have. But what goes hand in hand is that you're also able to then make more than what you have. Because people who are resourceful don't just say, oh, this is what I've got, I'm good. They go and they find ways of making more for themselves, more opportunity, more resources, all of these things. So being resourceful is starting with what you have and making the best of it, and using your brain to think about how you can use these things to the best of your ability. And it's also going out and finding ways you can multiply and make the most of the things that you already have to bring more things, more resources and availabilities and opportunities to you. It's also a highly respected trait that people have that other people respect. So if you have the ability to be resourceful, and if you have the mentality of resourcefulness, other people are going to see that, men and women, and they're going to respect it. And that's number 4. Women really, really like resourceful men. Like, just think about it for a second. Who do you see? The popular people, the people who have the most influence, right? All these people, they also have all the girls. Women really like having resourcefulness as a trait in their man. So whether you are in a relationship right now or not, you can harness this ability and harness this mentality and this skill that you can develop, and it will become wildly attractive to whoever you are with right now or whoever you will be with in the future. Number 5 is that being resourceful is not just a skill, but it's a mentality and it's an attitude. Being resourceful is something that's inside your head and inside of here first before other people can see it. That's why they respect it, because it's this mentality of, I'm not just gonna sit around and be the victim of my life and all these horrible circumstances. I'm gonna go out and I'm actually going to make the most with what I have right now, and I'm going to work on amplifying and building more of what I already have. Maybe you're here and you don't want to be here, but you can get from here to here only by being resourceful. Because when you're in a place where you just have to work with what you've got, then you really have to start thinking, because They say that it takes money to make money, right? You have to have money to be able to start up a business. I know this personally, and that can be really challenging if you don't have any money. So maybe going and getting a job first, things like that. You're being resourceful and then amplifying that, saying, I'm right here. I'm a young guy. I want to have money, right? Or I want to have this business in the future. Going backwards and saying, what do I have right now? Well, let's see. I have a driver's license, a birth certificate, and a social security card. I can go get a job. Going and getting that job is the first step that you can take. And this is just one example. Like there could be others. Like that's just common. It could even be with college stuff. Like where do you want to go with that? Backing it up. But it's having this mentality of here's point A where I am right now, and here's point B where I want to be, whatever it is. It could be like a small situation. It could be one decision. It could be like deciding which route to drive home today because of the different stops you have to make along the way. Something as simple as that. But resourcefulness is having this mentality and having an attitude to be able to think for yourself. Number 6, you have to be able to think for yourself when you're being resourceful. And when you're being resourceful, you're thinking for yourself. So being able to think like, what is it that's going on right now in the world around me that might be different? Because it gets you out of the matrix. It gets you out of the workflow. It gets you out of the status quo. And now you can start thinking outside of the box. That's what I'm doing here right now by recording this video. I'm taking myself out of one box that I don't want to be in, and I'm putting myself in the box that I do want to be in with resources by being resourceful. So you can't, that's the thing. You could then get into a debate, this entire YouTube space, right? I'm just going to edit that out actually. So being resourceful is all about having a mentality first inside of you. I listed 6 things. That's 6 things. We're going to bring it down to 3, okay? The 3 things are that being resourceful is a mentality that is inside of you, and that is an attitude inside of you where you're thinking like, okay, I need to solve this problem in the best way possible with as profitable of an outcome as I can possibly attain. Then you go and you implement that by getting yourself out of the matrix, right? Thinking about it as the first step. Then you implement it, and now you're saying, how can I make more out of what I currently have, right? That means you might need to go make more money. That means you might need to make more friends and contacts. That might mean I don't know what that means. What does that mean for you? Then you do that, and people outside of you externally see, oh, this guy, can you guys see this? This guy's really resourceful, right? Like he's got his head on straight. He knows what he's doing. He's in here shooting YouTube videos and got a cool background that he had to conjure out of a really bad looking wall with a scrape on it, right? These kinds of things are the things that are actually the beginnings, just the humble beginnings that all of us have at some point. And we have to continue working ourselves up to the point where we want to be, but we always have to start somewhere. So the journey, the entire path between starts with, it has a multitude of traits and a multiple of things you need to develop in yourself. Remember, there's self-development, skill development, and oh my gosh, my brain just fell apart. Remember, on the scale of development, you have brain development, literally your physical brain and body developing. You have self-development, you developing yourself as a person. And then you have your skill development, developing the skills and the things that you have as assets that are assets to you that you can provide other people as assets to them that give you worth inside of a workspace. But it starts with the physical development, going from being like a baby where you started to your body's being resourceful and it's growing to, okay, now I can become an independent adult through self-development once I'm getting closer to the end of my brain development. And then because you're now a self-aware adult, like you're aware of what's going on, you can become a business skill developed person. And that is where this lies, where you are, this is a perfect example. You're ranking up these 3 levels of development, and all of that throughout the entire thing, you're being resourceful. This is really what we see when we watch movies and things where you have like Iron Man, you have Batman, you have just fun movies like this, and even just people in real life that we look up to inside of society. They're all just being resourceful. They're all just using what they have, and they're using their brains and they're using their smarts. That's what we really admire most about people, is when they use their brains. It doesn't matter where they're coming from, but if they have a great brain, then we're going to respect them more immediately. Sometimes we have to get past what's on the outside before we can do that. But exactly. So start implementing resourcefulness before you do anything else. Resourcefulness is the first domino to knock over all the other dominoes in every other aspect of life. In all of those different developmental stages, you're going to need to use resourcefulness, except for maybe physical development. But even in health, you have to use resourcefulness. That's why I like the activators, cellular activation. I know more about that and can teach you more about that if you're interested. But that's a really smart, resourceful way to really amp up and boost your body naturally. So examples just like that, things just like that. It starts inside of you. You implement it, people see that you've implemented it, and they automatically have more respect for you. And really, who doesn't want to have that kind of reputation? Because that's what it boils down to. You have a reputation of resourcefulness. And then you can say, because I was resourceful, I worked on my anger problems. I worked on my addictions, right? I worked on this and that. I had the mental awareness to get out of the matrix and out of the things that I was doing before. And I had the ability to say, what do I need right now? How do I get to this next level in whatever problem it is? Whether that be starting a business, getting out of an addiction, whatever. Those are the things that will follow after you start implementing resourcefulness. So, what is the easiest way to start implementing resourcefulness right now? The easiest way, I think, is just to start thinking. Just ask yourself questions as you go through your day. Start becoming more aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Start examining yourself. Don't freak out about it. Don't be like, oh my gosh, all these crazy things, because people can do that. I can do that sometimes. But instead of overthinking things, just analyze them. That's something I need to do, like I just said. Like analyzing what's going on in my own brain. Why am I making these decisions? Why do I think this thing cannot be fixed when maybe it can be? And how do I go about fixing it? Those are the kinds of questions, and that is the kind of self-awareness that sparks the flame of resourcefulness and will keep that fire burning for a very, very long time. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Keep making men, keep making yourself the best man you can be, and I will see you later.